I've been talking a lot about it in a lot of the interviews that I've been doing lately, but he's the one that brought it up.
Quincy Jones brought in Fresh Prince.
Yes, he did.
And his first movie was what? 6 Degrees of Separation. Tevin Campbell. His little sweet up and down Hollywood Boulevard.
How does a boy with a voice like that had the records that he had, that could have easily transformed into one of the greatest male vocals of all time, end up himself for drugs and change on Hollywood Boulevard?
Oh my word! The legendary, the genius, the controversial Quincy Jones has left us, and honey, let me tell you, people's reactions are mixed. With news of his passing still fresh, everyone's wondering one thing: how do those he left behind really feel about his departure?
Set up rings in Hollywood. And the people that he brought in, if y'all tell me if I'm lying, Quincy Jones brought in Fresh Prince.
Child, for one particular singer, Quincy's death might mean more than just goodbye. We're talking about freedom. Tevin Campbell, that incredible talent whose voice was once completely under Quincy's control, is finally opening up, and the tea is scalding.
You always fear that if somebody hooks up with Prince, we'll be hanging out of their pants or something like that, you know. But instead, Quincy dressed you, I think, or somebody who has a different
Let me tell you something. Campbell's story with Quincy goes way deeper than just music, honey. We're talking secrets, power plays, and alleged exploitation that'll make your skin crawl. Now that Quincy's gone, are we finally going to get the real story? Did Quincy's iron grip push poor Tevin to the edge? What dark truths has he been holding back? And just how much of that beautiful talent was buried under Quincy's controlling ways?
How does a boy with a voice like that had the records that he had, that could have easily transformed into one of the greatest male vocals of all time, end up himself for drugs and change on Hollywood Boulevard?
Baby, listen close, because this tea is hot. Quincy Jones wasn't just your regular legend. He was a gatekeeper with his fingers in everybody's pie. From Michael Jackson to Will Smith to our sweet Tevin Campbell, Quincy's influence was everywhere. But for Campbell, Chili, the man who blessed him with stardom, might have been the same one who clipped his wings. When baby Tevin burst onto the scene as a teenager, everyone said his voice was heaven sent. But as he climbed that ladder under Quincy's wing, there was something dark lurking in the shadows. Those close to the situation say it felt like Quincy owned everything about Tevin, his voice, his image, even his future. And honey, Quincy's need for control wasn't exactly a secret. Even the biggest names in the industry had felt that heavy hand of influence. But Tevin, he was young, impressionable, and according to some whispers, vulnerable. What started as mentorship quickly turned into something else entirely. Baby, let me tell you about what happened in early 2018. Quincy Jones set the internet on fire when he revealed he was bi.
We had the city covered. We were baby gangsters. We had all the stores, working all the stores, steel boxes of honey, everything else. This is during the war, you know, in the 40s.
Chile. These revelations had internet detectives working overtime, digging up all kinds of dirt on this legendary producer, and one of the most shocking rumors that started making rounds after that Vulture piece dropped was about Quincy and young Tevin Campbell. The whispers were loud, suggesting something inappropriate happened when Campbell was still a minor. Now, our boy Tevin, who Quincy called underrated in that interview, jumped on Twitter real quick to shut that mess down. Now I'm trending, he tweeted, "Folks will really say some disgusting things." And baby, he wasn't playing. He straight up said, "Tevin was essayed by Quincy. Get the F out of here with the devil," with laughing emojis. But let me spill some more tea about that interview. Quincy was out here saying the Beatles were the worst musicians in the world, bragging about dating Ivanka Trump and claiming Marlon Brando was getting cozy with James Baldwin and Richard Pryor. The man was spilling everybody's business. Now, let's talk about our sweet Tevin's journey. This child was once considered one of the best musical talents in the world. But joining the industry as a minor, baby, there were vultures circling everywhere, and some say Quincy was right there among them. By 15, this baby was collaborating with Prince of all people. His song Round and Round hit number 3 on the R&B charts, and by 18, child, there were only 3 voices allowed to go higher than everyone else on that 1994 Black Men United charity single You Will Know, Stokely Williams, Brian McKnight, and our boy Tevin. We're talking about a song that had everybody from Usher to Gerald Levert, El DeBarge to Lenny Kravitz.
I saw you steady when I started.
Honey, this child had a 4.5 octave range that had people calling him the male Whitney Houston. The way he studied Whitney's technique, the runs, the riffs, everything was incredible. His performance on that 1992 Olympics song produced by Quincy, baby, people thought it was Whitney herself. Let me tell you something about those Grammy nominations. This child had 5 of them before he even turned 20. And who was he losing to? Only legends like Luther Vandross, Al Jarreau, Ray Charles, Babyface, and Boyz II Men. That's the level our baby was playing at. While selling over 3 million albums, Tevin was out here acting in sitcoms with Will Smith and Brandy. But honey, here's where it gets dark. Because apparently, our sweet Tevin wasn't the only one dealing with Quincy's alleged inappropriate behavior. Will Smith's name started coming up in these conversations too.
And introduced me to Quincy and like, hey Q, what's up, man? He's like, hey man, you know, I saw your music videos. I love what you're doing. I love what you're doing. Tell me your rap name again.
If you're new to this piping hot tea, let me catch you up. There were whispers about a whole chain involving Quincy, Tevin, and Will Smith, all revolving around this legendary producer. Now, a few months back, Will Smith came clean about something interesting. He lied to Quincy about being able to act just to get that Fresh Prince role.
And other people lawyers around. Like, that's his lawyer, Quincy. Leave that man alone.
Child. During a 2023 CBS Mornings interview, Will spilled all the tea about those Fresh Prince days. Picture this. Quincy Jones asks Will if he can act, and what does our boy do? He says yes. Mind you, all Will had done up until then was rap with DJ Jazzy Jeff. But here's the gag. Will's sitting there at this audition. Michael Jackson's behind him. We're talking 48 million Thriller sales. Oprah's on the other side with The Color Purple, and poor Will's sweating bullets. Michael's looking at him like, what you gonna do, Will? And Quincy's over there saying this decision would change his whole life. Now, this was happening right around the same time our Tevin was topping charts with Quincy's help. But baby, that success came with a price. Speaking of which, let me tell you about the drama that went down in 2018. Some social media influencer named Lovey A had the audacity to shade our Tevin, asking, under what rock did they pull that name from? When someone suggested him for Aretha's tribute, Chile! The internet went absolutely nuclear. We're not just talking about fans. Celebrities like director Ava DuVernay came out swinging for Tevin. She even promised to put him on Queen Sugar just to teach these disrespectful millennials a lesson. And how did our classy King Tevin respond? He posted a gorgeous throwback picture of himself beaming next to Aretha Franklin, subtly reminding everyone just who he is. The shade of it all? Honey, let me tell you about Tevin's glory days. From 93 to 95, this child was shining. Opening for Janet Jackson's Janet Tour? Baby, that's like opening for Beyonce's Lemonade Tour today. He had 3 top 5 R&B hits back-to-back from his I'm Ready album, and if it wasn't for R. Kelly's Bumpin' and Grinding holding on to #1 for 12 whole weeks, our boy would have had 2 #1s. But here's where it gets messy. By 1996, when his third album, Back to the World, dropped, things started falling apart. Even with production from legends like Babyface, Stevie J, and Puffy Combs, it only went gold after his previous pure platinum run. And by 1999, Chile, our baby was dealing with some personal struggles, including that unfortunate arrest at 22 for soliciting from an undercover cop. Now, let's spill this scalding tea about Quincy's other alleged situations. A conspiracy theorist named Professor Griff wasn't shy about calling out Quincy's involvement in certain Hollywood circles.
In Hollywood. And the people that he brought in, if y'all tell me if I'm lying, Quincy Jones brought in Fresh Prince.
And hold on to your wigs because there's more. There were claims that Quincy made advances towards Tupac Shakur. Allegedly, there was an interview where Tupac himself talked about Quincy's inappropriate advances, but mysteriously, that interview has vanished from the internet. Makes you wonder about Quincy's power, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think these definitely, them rumors about Quincy Jones and all that crazy stuff about Pac was definitely rumors. Pac was about to marry his daughter.
But baby, even though they tried to hide that interview, some fans swear they remember every single word. One person commented, I heard the audio of Tupac saying that about Quincy with my own ears about 10 years ago. Quincy was the key holder to the black music industry. Anyone at the top level had gotten there by partaking in his parties.
When I was shot 5 times in jail for a crime I didn't commit, while every other black person, I mean, whoever they was babies.
Now here's the gagger. Right before Tupac's tragic passing, he was actually planning to sign with Quincy's record label. Kesha Cole spilled this tea during Fat Joe's Instagram Live, saying Tupac was ready to leave Death Row Records for Quincy's company. He even invited Kesha to come along on this new journey, but sadly, that very same day in Las Vegas, well, we all know what happened. And get this, Months before his passing, Tupac was reportedly dating Quincy's daughter, Kidada Jones. Some whispered it was his way of responding to Quincy's alleged advances. Now that Quincy's gone, everybody's eyes are on Tevin Campbell. Will he finally tell us the real story about what went down during those years under Quincy's control? Or will he let sleeping dogs lie and focus on building his own legacy? Only time will tell, honey. And that's the tea, served piping hot and straight, no chaser. Keep watching for more updates because something tells me this story ain't over yet. Bye for now, loves.